It was a chilly autumn evening when a distress call came in from a remote mountainous region. A group of experienced hikers had gone missing, and a search and rescue team was urgently dispatched to find them. The terrain was rugged, and the weather conditions were unforgiving. Little did the search crew know that they were about to step into a nightmarish ordeal. The search team, led by the seasoned veteran, Captain Anderson, arrived at the base of the mountain. Armed with flashlights, radios, and their unwavering determination, they began their ascent into the wilderness. The last communication from the missing hikers had been filled with panic and confusion, making the situation even more ominous. As night fell, a thick, eerie silence enveloped the mountainside. The only sounds were the crunching of leaves underfoot and the occasional whisper of the wind. The search crew moved deeper into the wilderness, following the trail markers left by the missing hikers. But as they climbed higher, the markers seemed to lead them in circles, and they couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Hours turned into days, and the search team faced increasingly bizarre encounters. They heard disembodied voices calling their names in the dead of night, but when they shone their flashlights in the direction of the voices, no one was there. Strange symbols appeared etched into the trees, symbols that no one on the team recognized. It was as if the forest itself was taunting them. One evening, the search crew stumbled upon a campsite that appeared to belong to the missing hikers. Torn tents, scattered belongings, and signs of a struggle painted a grim picture. It was clear that something had gone horribly wrong here. But what sent shivers down their spines was the discovery of a journal, its pages filled with increasingly frantic entries. The last entry simply read, "They're watching us." As the days stretched on, the search team's nerves frayed. They would occasionally catch glimpses of shadowy figures darting between the trees, but whenever they pursued, the figures would vanish without a trace. Captain Anderson, usually unshakable, began to doubt his own sanity. He confided in his team that he felt a malevolent presence closing in around them. With their supplies dwindling and their morale plummeting, the search crew made a desperate decision to descend the mountain, but the forest seemed to have other plans. The trail markers led them in ever more confusing directions, and the forest grew thicker and more foreboding. Panic set in as they realized they were trapped in a maze with no way out. Days turned into weeks, and the search crew's condition deteriorated. They were emaciated, sleep-deprived, and plagued by relentless fear. In their final hours, Captain Anderson made a chilling discovery. He stumbled upon a clearing in the forest where eerie totems stood, each adorned with a piece of clothing or equipment from the missing hikers. It was a grotesque tribute to their torment. As they stood in that nightmarish clearing, they heard the same voices they had heard in the beginning, calling their names. But this time, the voices were accompanied by a terrible, inhuman laughter. With newfound determination, they broke free from the forest's grip and descended the mountain, guided only by the distant glimmer of civilization. The search crew eventually reached safety, but they were forever changed by their harrowing experience. The missing hikers were never found, and their fate remained a haunting mystery. The wilderness had revealed itself as a malevolent entity, one that had ensnared them in a web of terror. Captain Anderson, haunted by the events, was left with one chilling question: what other horrors lay hidden in the depths of the wilderness, waiting for their next victims? In a small, isolated town nestled deep within an ancient forest, a series of strange disappearances had sent shockwaves through the community. People were vanishing without a trace, leaving behind only whispers of eerie encounters and chilling tales. The town's desperate residents had formed a search crew, determined to unravel the mystery shrouding their beloved woods. The search crew, led by the fearless investigator, Emily Rogers, ventured into the heart of the ominous forest. The towering trees loomed overhead, casting long shadows that seemed to come alive in the fading daylight. The forest was dense with legends of malevolent spirits and restless souls, but Emily was undeterred. She believed in logic and science, not superstitions. As the crew delved deeper into the woods, strange things began to happen. They heard whispered voices in a language they couldn't understand and glimpsed fleeting figures moving among the trees. Each night, their campsite was plagued by bizarre phenomena. Objects moved on their own, and eerie symbols appeared etched into the ground, symbols that sent shivers down their spines. Despite meticulous planning and GPS devices, the crew struggled to maintain their bearings. The forest seemed to shift around them, rearranging trees and creating a maze that defied logic. Emily's confidence waned as she realized they were no longer in control, and the woods held secrets far beyond their comprehension. One fateful night, they stumbled upon an abandoned cabin deep within the woods. Inside, they found a journal filled with entries from a previous search crew, a crew that had disappeared without a trace. The journal chronicled their growing paranoia, citing encounters with ghostly figures and inexplicable events. The final entry simply read, "The forest knows our fears." As days turned into weeks, the search crew's resolve was tested to its limits. Emily's leadership was questioned as members of her team succumbed to a growing sense of dread. They couldn't escape the feeling that the forest itself was alive and malevolent, toying with their sanity. With dwindling supplies and a mounting sense of hopelessness, the crew made a final desperate attempt to escape the woods. But the forest had other plans. Trees closed in around them, paths vanished, and the whispers grew louder, as if mocking their futile attempts to flee. In their darkest hour, Emily made a shocking discovery. Deep within the forest, they found a clearing filled with eerie totems adorned with personal belongings of the missing townsfolk. It was a haunting tribute to their torment and a chilling testament to the malevolent force that held them captive. Exhausted and on the brink of despair, the search crew stumbled upon a hidden glade. In the center stood an ancient, gnarled tree with strange carvings. As they approached, the tree came to life, its branches morphing into grotesque forms. Emily realized too late that the forest itself was a sentient being, hungry for their fear. Only Emily managed to escape the forest, but she was forever changed. She had glimpsed the true nature of the woods, a realm of darkness and malevolence beyond human comprehension. The rest of the search crew and the missing townsfolk were never seen again. Swallowed by the enigmatic woods, Emily carried the burden of their terrifying fate and the knowledge that some mysteries are better left unsolved.